to have a look at how we can help you automate the delivery of service to your customers, making sure that all the new demands that we have placed on us don't blow the budget and make it more difficult to do. So first of all, just a quick background on Alemba. Who are we? So Alemba is the manufacturer of Alemba Service Manager, a modern ITSM tool that has cutting edge looks. It has a very powerful graphical workflow engine, which allows citizen development and the use of people who own processes, gives them the ability to build their own processes. We have a powerful integration platform based around the Azure platform, which we'll talk about in a little bit. We also have a really powerful customer experience platform in our customer portal that allows customers to interact with the service desk in a really up-to-date and modern way. There's a zero code ability to develop the apps and services that you use, as well as the federated CMDB to integrate all your sources of information. And we also provide interfaces for different user sets as well, from end users to business users through to technical users. Obviously, the huge focus at the moment is really on supporting shift left technology. So today we're going to spend quite a bit of time in showing how we can automate the service catalog. We'll have a little bit of a look at chat and chatbots, how that helps with it. Microsoft Teams integration, obviously a big thing now, and a little bit of AI where we can use AI to push up the information to customers they need to support themselves. So big emphasis on that at the moment. The heart of our engine, though, is really this workflow engine, which allows you to join end users, your executives, and your analysts together. And how that's done is we first of all front-end everything with a service catalog that allows you to list out everything that you provide to your customers. Once they've selected something, that will give them the correct forms and gather the correct information from them. That allows the workflow engine to gather all the approvals required from management or the business or both, and then send out all the work orders to the people to do the actual work. All of that is then backed up with a collaboration through things like Teams, a searchable and a knowledge base that also is providing knowledge based on the context of the calls, reporting and analytics that allow you to report across the whole thing, so including your custom fields. So all of that provides you with a very powerful platform. And this is what it looks like. So in our tool, it's just like Visio. So if you want to build a workflow, you just drag and drop on the tasks, and James will show you a lot more of this later. Whereas in a lot of our rivals, you're straight into code to do that kind of thing. Our platform is based on the Azure technology stack, so we leverage that in a deep way. So for instance, you can build your own logic apps and plug them into our application, for instance, and that gives you the ability to extend our platform. So it makes our platform user extendable, and it doesn't break our platform, so you can do that without any risk to the application. There's that's then supports our zero code workflow engine, which we just talked about, that then can support all the ITIL practices, and they can be applied to multiple use cases, not just IT, but HR, case management, estates management, facilities, etc. A further feature to support that is the ability to fire off different departments. So we absolutely can support full enterprise service management out of the box. So you can have IT, finance, HR, procurement, facilities, etc. in the same tool, and you can ensure the privacy between those departments. That integration platform, as we're saying, is we have our certified, and it's a very deep connector on Azure, and that allows you to plug into thousands of other applications really easily and really cost effectively. So just to introduce James on the demo, there's two main interfaces you're going to look at today. The first one is the customer portal. With that, you get a customer site license from us, so everyone can use that at no cost. It also allows you to do all your approvals as well. Then there's our nano interface, which we probably won't have time to go much in today, but that's our business user interface, which just simplifies the power of the tool for people who maybe don't use it all the time. And then finally, our core interface, which is where all the power users and admins live in configuring the system. And with that, I'm going to hand over to James.
Brilliant, thanks very much, Laurence. So I'm just waiting for screen share capabilities. Perfect, so you should hopefully be able to see my screen now. Brilliant, so as Laurence mentioned, what we're going to go through this morning, or rather this afternoon now, is really take a look at the self-service experience, but also more importantly, how we empower our customers to own this experience through zero code configuration, through, as Laurence just took you through, the likes of the screen designer, the workflow designer, webhooks configuration in conjunction with Azure Logic Apps, and so on and so forth. And that really does empower your end users to very easily get from A to B as quickly and as seamlessly as possible, but also your own internal service desk agents to be able to be self-sufficient and own Alemba Service Manager itself. So what we're going to do is firstly start in the Alemba Service Manager self-service portal. Now, as I just mentioned, it's extremely important that your end users can leverage capabilities to enable them to get from A to B as quickly as they possibly can. And we provide an abundance of features to manage that shift left capability directly from the homepage. And this is all built through consumerization techniques. So as we can see across the top of the screen, there are many different elements in terms of knowledge management and self-sufficient capabilities that we can leverage to promote to end users, such as the Google-esque search capability at the top. So as an end user, I can very easily search for keywords or ask the system questions, which then promotes varying different records based upon the data that's been inserted. Now, as you can see here, based upon my iPhone keyword, we can see varying different details from incidents or tickets. We also have service actions that are available within the service request catalog, as well as knowledge-based articles as well. Now, again, as an end user, it's important to restrict information. So based upon their role-based access controls, they can very easily restrict the information that's presented, so they can simply just select down to knowledge-based articles to find out exactly what they're looking for. Likewise, if we go back to the home page, we have a lot of other intuitive features from, for example, the homepage banner. So if you are aware, for example, that there is maintenance going to be scheduled this coming Friday, as we're seeing on the screen at the moment, why not actually promote that to the self-service user base so they can easily understand when any applicable downtime would potentially be in place. Likewise, in the adoption back to home working, as of yesterday, you also may be supporting your employees, end users, customers in the context of how you're going to continue to support remote home working, your business continuity, your disaster recovery plans, etc., etc. Again, on the home screen, it's important that they can leverage key, concise information to understand what their service desk experience looks like. So, for example, here at the top, we have our counters capability. So I can see the number of tickets, requests, any approvals which are born for my action, and that can be performed through the license-free portal, through the mobile responsive interface, and also through email capabilities. But also, what equipment do I have in my possession, or are there any potentially subscribed services that I have access to? If I wanted to drill into it, again, I can easily see exactly what I have access to straight through the counters indicator, and I can then see the top line level information based upon the tickets that I have available to me. And again, if I drill into it, it's important for end users to really understand high level progress visibility, as well as obviously that granular level detail to understand exactly the touch points that tickets may have gone through the incident management lifecycle. So at the top of the screen here, I can easily see that my ticket has been escalated. So again, if anyone like myself, who if I've ordered something off of Amazon, I might go on just to see whether it's been shipped, dispatched, etc., etc. So I can see at a glance where I am there. And of course, as we move more towards the customer experience in accordance with our targets, response and resolution SLAs, we can see the SLA target progress and where it is in its particular SLA response target times. Again, if I wanted to view further details, I can view the individual record entities and the attributes below them. Furthermore, attachments, knowledge articles, and of course, the underlying audit history if I wanted to do so. If we scroll to the bottom of this audit history here, you'll also be able to see that we have a full chat transcript, which has been directly written to the ticket record. So as Laurence mentioned during the initial overview, we do have social collaboration integration mechanisms, either A, through our own inherent Alemba Service Manager chat capability, but more importantly nowadays, we're seeing it through Microsoft Teams, live chat for our managed service providers, etc., which really allows that extensibility of the platform to those social collaboration techniques that are out there on the market. And again, if I go back to the homepage, hopefully what you'll have also noticed is that the portal is branded to the Alemba corporate logos and color themes. And again, this goes back to what Laurence mentioned with regards to current IT buzzwords such as the citizen development. So again, we want to empower our customers to be self-sufficient, to build on the platform itself without being coders, knowing XML, SQL, etc. And that's seen through the skins designer for the portal branding. So we get a preview on the right-hand side of the screen. We could select our customer logo, where we'd want the image in alignment across the top of the screen, different types of colors based upon, for example, Bootstrap color themes. Or if I wanted to very simply go into a color picker, again, I can easily do so. So again, you don't need to know anything about CSS or anything like that to be able to brand your portal. Likewise, it's important that you can build on your screens that are outside of the existing screens out of the box. So here, for example, I have a security card request. You can add rudimentary tooltips and things which you always want to be present on the screen, but you can also manage any new custom attribute that you want to add to the screen estate. And more importantly here, once these custom attributes are added, they are immediately available across all search functions or dashboard reporting functions and even to the API, so that you can immediately start to leverage those attributes across varying different operational management tools that may be in use at the business. Similarly, any attribute that I select, as you can see on the left-hand side, you have full data validation, so you can control the size, whether it's mandatory, whether you want to actually put audit rights on the attribute, whether you even want to lock it down to field access level privileges as well. So again, very important in the context of enterprise service management. So you can hide fields, make fields read only, obfuscate information based upon the personnel that's accessing the record. And likewise, finally, within here, we also have the capability to manage dynamic screens. So it's important that yourselves as customers can create single screens that then dynamically change based upon the conditional inputs within those forms. So if, for example, you pick field A, then another new section of the screen may appear. If you pick field B, then another section may disappear. So you can effectively hide fields and sections of the screen based upon the conditional input within the form. Likewise, as we mentioned, we have full integration platform capabilities. So very much as the other vendors this morning have already gone through, we do have extensibility to other applications to leverage your existing investment across other operational management tools. So you can manage and configure webhooks integrations directly through the front end GUI. Likewise, we can, for example, go to the Logic Apps Designer within the Azure portal. So I can manage updates, for example, on major incidents that you may be working on. If you want to then directly update a Microsoft Teams channel based upon updates from within Alemba Service Manager itself, the system can take those event triggers to dynamically update the relevant channels directly from the system. So again, it really does endorse that ability to easily manage your system configurability through that zero configuration approach within the system. Now, one final example that I want to go through before we close out the session is that ability to leverage your service request catalog that really then showcases the ability to digitally automate your processes that you have across the business in combination with intuitive workflow capabilities and approval processes. So again, the system fully endorses enterprise service management capabilities. You can manage all the varying different service request actions within the catalog across varying different departments and restrict it based upon their role-based access controls. Very much as Steve just went through, I'm also going to go through a new employee bundle. So for example, here for a new employee within the business, we can amalgamate different types of service actions within a bundle so that dependent on obviously the role of the employee, you can make actions mandatory or they can be optional based upon that role. Of course, you can have different types of bundles to support different types of employees, but in this example here, I've just got a new employee itself. So what I'm going to do is just leave the create new account and new standard laptop as the mandatory actions checked. And if I select continue, the system will then present to me the relevant forms in which I can input those details. So here I can insert the title, the position, where we can also see the dynamic screens in action. So type of position is permanent, screen stays the same, type of position is temporary, and end date is now presented as the system assumes that this person will finish employment at the business at an applicable point in time. Likewise, reverting it back to permanent then makes that field completely disappear. So now what we can do is insert the details. So let's say David, title, phone number. We're going to say David starting next week. And I'm going to give it a description. And then once we're happy, we can select continue, which takes me on to the final service action as part of that bundle, which is for the new standard laptop. So here, I'm just going to very simply put that David started with an Alemba. We now get two choices of laptops. So I could have the Apple MacBook Pro, as well as the day two actions that are associated with that. Or I can have the EliteBook with the specification, again, with the day two actions associated with that. So what I can very simply do is just insert a description and select submit. Now what that will then do is it will present to the person that's logged that bundle a bundle progress package, so the person can easily see how that is progressing. But internally within Alemba Service Manager, we now get two distinct request workflows that will then manage the phases, the tasks, the approvals of those life cycles to bring this new employee to fruition. So what I'm very quickly going to do is log out as the current person and log back in as the manager. There is full single sign-on available. I just haven't got it enabled within my system here. And what you can now see is we have a similar user experience, but this person now has 4 approvals. So we can drill into it and we can see the network account approval. We can see the hardware request for the laptop. We've also got a stakeholder approval for a request for change. And similarly, this person is also a manager of a contract. So a contract is due for renewal, so they must output their approval or rejection. So what I'm very simply going to do is drill into the approval for the AD account. We can see David's details. I'm of course going to approve it, insert my security credential, which again, if SSO is enabled, that would just approve it straight away. And what that will then do is it will bring us nicely into the actual workflow engine within Alemba Service Manager itself. So what I can do is navigate to my workflow template administration designer. And what we do with our customers is the system is shipped with a fully configured ITIL aligned database called Alemba Rapid Start. So out of the box, you get all the functions across incident problem, major incident change, release management, service portfolio manager, a pre-configured service catalog, all completely out of the box. So there are no costs in terms of modularization from that perspective. And what we can do is drill into the network account creation. We can see the underlying form that the specific network account would follow. And behind that, as you would expect, sits the workflow engine. So here again, if anyone's ever used Visio or anything like that, it's all fully drag and drop. We have a task palette across the top of the screen where we can drag and drop on varying different tasks to support approvals and so on and so forth. So again, here we can manage that full process right the way through from managerial approval and then the automated capability to fully create that account without any manual user interaction whatsoever. So if, for example, I now go to request for today, we'll see that we have our hardware approval, but the network account one has been fully closed. And that's because based upon that managerial approval, everything else as part of that workflow has been fully automated, which we can fully see through color-coded visual depiction. So essentially, very quickly, if we now go to AD, we'll see that David now exists within AD itself. And that's a very good example because obviously we can create accounts, but likewise we can manage promotion opportunities. So if David has been promoted or moved departments, he may need to be added to new AD groups, OUs. Likewise, if David unfortunately leaves the business, his account may need to be disabled before it's ultimately removed from Active Directory itself. So hopefully very quickly that really showcases the capabilities of Alemba Service Manager to manage the shift left capabilities through self-service, but also manage the zero code approach to configuration so that you can manage the service desk yourself without coming back to Alemba for other configuration opportunities. So I'll take a brief pause there and hand back over to David. Laurence is attending the Q&A very shortly, so if anyone's got any further questions, then please do feel free to let us know.
Great stuff. Thank you, James. Yeah, absolutely spot on. So we'll have a chance to talk a little bit longer and harder, I think, very, very soon, actually. Before we maybe move on, we've got a couple of minutes. I'm really interested in how organizations are, service organizations or whatever IT service management solutions software guys are looking to transform and utilize what's out there in any form, really, especially when you look at that drag and drop stuff, when you look at the service integration, Azure, OpenAI, all that wonderful stuff. I'm really interested in how that approach that you're building out strategically, I suppose, in all the integration